This podcast may contain adult language and themes, or it might not. We're not really sure. We haven't recorded it yet.
I'm Jason.
I'm Diggs.
I make software, music, and podcasts.
I connect people personally and professionally, and I like talking with Jason.
This is the Candy Factory 5x5 podcast.
5 conversations.
5 random topics.
5 minutes each.
When we hear this sound,
we move on to the next topic. Next.
On every episode, we invite a very special guest to join us. And that is where you say, hi, my name is Megan.
Hi, my name is Megan.
Hi, Megan. Welcome to the program.
Glad to be here.
Hey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm a therapist. My business is Well Counseling and Consulting here in Lancaster. I see clients here in a wonderful conference room that is safe and secure, large space, as well as virtually. I've pivoted to a 75% virtual practice.
Is that right?
That is right.
Well, I mean, it makes sense why you would do that. How's it working out?
It's going really well, actually. I mean, it's been a learning curve. Therapists, technology is not usually our first or best skill set. Not going to lie. But we've adapted, and yeah.
I don't know. There's probably not a lot of like IT therapy double major kind of.
No. And actually, confession here, I was like a little, skeptical and self-righteous about some people because I thought, oh, you can't do what we do. You need the human interaction, the feeling, and I was wrong.
Okay.
I mean, in some cases, yes, I think you need that, but I've been really amazed at how much you can connect virtually with people and how I've learned to read body language.
Well, and during these COVID times, I mean, this is where we're being forced into things.
That's right.
That we may have thought were possible, and suddenly we have to do. And yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people in a lot of industries are learning that hey, we can actually do some of the things that we were hesitant to do or that we didn't think were possible. So I'm glad it's working out for you, and I'm glad you're still with us here at the Candy Factory and seeing your patients, your clients here at the Candy Factory.
Me too. I'm grateful to be able to do both.
Yeah, that's
in
cool.
person and virtual.
Diggs, my friend, always a pleasure to see you.
You too.
And I have to start by saying 5x5 would not be possible without the mothership. That is the Candy Factory. We are a co-working space here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Just rolled out a new membership model called the Lancaster Work Club. And I've got news. For $100, it's the all-in membership that basically means you can come and work as a member of the Candy Factory for $100 anytime we're open. So it's unlimited hours within the hours that we are open.
Nice.
We also have a virtual membership, which is $35 a month, and that gets you 2-day passes in the door and all the virtual networking you can handle. And if you just want to come for the day to check it out, day passes under $10. If you buy a bundle, they're $10. Just come once and check it out. You need to do that. Stop by and see us at the Candy Factory here in downtown Lancaster, PA, coworkinginlancaster.com for all the details. And we are also a proud member of the Candy Factory Collective. Visit candyfactorycollective.com to see all of the shows that the Collective is producing. We have live streams practically every day now. We're almost there. Cool. Live streams, basically happening all the time, and all the videos all the videos are archived, and we're rolling out audio podcast versions as well. So there's a lot of stuff happening here at the Candy Factory, and it's a great place to be as we sort of reemerge as a society. During these COVID times. If you're new to the program, we're going to talk about 5 random topics. My iPad, his name is Frank, will dish those topics up to us. He'll play us a little jingle to let us know it's time to move on to the next topic when that time comes. Wherever it goes, it goes. That's the magic. That is the gift that we give the internet each time we do this here on 5x5. Is everybody ready? Feeling good? Feeling loose?
Yeah.
All right, let's get rolling. This is episode 35 of the Candy Factory 5x5 podcast. Frank, what is topic number 1? Hashtags. Hashtags. Not hashtags. Or it could be hashtags. Does anyone ever do that? Hashtags.
I do that every now and then. Should we call it pound signs for the old money?
Yeah. Pound. Well, I actually said to somebody young the other day, you have to put in pound after. And they were like,
what?
And I said, hashtag. Mm-hmm. But without that, they're like, what's the hashtag? I was like, no, it's just the hash. Well, that's actually a good question. it's a good question for the panel today. Is this the hashtag, or is the tag the hashtag, or is it the combination of this and the word that is the hashtag? I'll let that hang out there for a minute.
I feel like this itself is hashtag, and then because like well, it's both. No, it's both. I guess it's both because it's like you don't necessarily need to reference a specific like tag when you mention the word hashtag. It's useful, like how people will say, like, if they're introducing something like follow along this conversation at hashtag 5x5
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Blah,
Right,
blah,
so
blah.
that means
Yeah.
hashtag.
This is the hashtag.
That's the hashtag. Where'd they start?
I don't know. Where did they start?
When were you first introduced to hashtag? Do you remember where you were when you first saw a hashtag?
I actually do.
the modern usage. Just to
Yeah,
be
the modern.
clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember
What's the old usage, Diggs? Like,
No, I didn't
Pound
know
sign?
if you meant like, well, yeah, because like I did like for like separating phone numbers and whatnot for like if you're like my first usage of it was learning how to like quickly dial an extension. You just put them all in at one point. So that's what
you
that's
mean
what
the symbol itself. You mean the
Yes.
actual symbol. Okay. What I meant was like, when would
actual
you first hear about using them in the sense that we know of them when you say the word hashtag?
I'm with you now. Megan, take it away.
So I actually do remember this. I was at Lancaster Theological Seminary, and it was African American Heritage Week, and there was a really awesome preacher, and Valerie Bridgman was the doctor of preaching, and she was like, hashtag, and I don't remember the things that she was saying, but I was like, what the heck? Like, she was like cheering, and then like she had her Twitter out, and I was like, what is that? I had no idea what it was. I had to check. I was doing youth and young adult ministry, so they, educated me. It's probably like 2011, maybe. 10,
Wow. Okay.
11.
And as you see right there on the screen, first introduced by Twitter on August 23rd, 2007. So
Clearly.
Twitter,
Yeah.
that's a few years, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
There weren't hashtags on MySpace, right? That wasn't the thing.
That's a good. No, I don't. I feel like Twitter did it first, and the annoying thing with social media management, like up until Facebook and Instagram and the rest of them, incorporated hashtagging for searches. Was it you would see people who were lazy with their posting, and they would post their Twitter specific posts like on Facebook or LinkedIn, and then it wouldn't work. Like the hashing wasn't. The hashing ability was not built into those platforms at first. So that was like my first like that's the first thing I would look for in like companies, like for their website, if their like social media was like, do they actually take the time to craft messages for each platform? Now it doesn't work because hashtagging works universally. But
Right.
that was my initial like, they actually pay attention or they suck.
Yeah, that was sort of your litmus test for whether or not the people were kind of in the know, if you will.
Yes.
I think my first experience was probably was Twitter. Yeah, and I was really in and out of Twitter. Like I kind of jumped in right around maybe 2010, maybe 10 years ago. It was like, whoa, this is a cesspool, and I got the hell out of there. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Yeah.
I used it for a couple. Well, a good friend of mine back in the day, when I was just a lad in 2010, was a kind of a social media guy, and kind of up on all this stuff. And I remember he was like, yeah, he goes, like Facebook is like a dinner party, and Twitter's like a megaphone. Like you're just standing there screaming, and everybody's just sort of standing on the street corner with these bullhorns, right, on Twitter. Whereas Facebook, at least at the time, was more just like a sort of a dinner party, sort of a conversational, like a post would be the start of this sort of conversation, and you might have 3 or 4 people who are standing around. But yeah, then it became universally accepted, and it's become part of this popular cultural phenomenon. I mean, it's really fascinating how these things change, and it is amazing how generationally, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
my folks in their 70s, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. They say hashtag, but if I said pound, they would totally know what that means. And like I said, this young person was just like, I don't have no idea what you mean by pound. And why would they? And why would you know what I mean? Like, why do we why do we even say pound?
Pound is dead.
Pound is dead.
We're gonna kill Pound.
Well, it's time to move on to topic number 2. Frank is being a little quiet today.
Silly
Topic
Frank.
number 2 for this episode's 5x5 is small planes. Small planes.
Small planes.
Yeah.
I bet Frank doesn't like small planes. No. I thought I didn't like small planes as a passenger, but I ended up having to take one from Pittsburgh back to Lancaster 2 years ago, and when I say small, I believe it was a Cessna, and it was like eight passengers total, if I remember right. Yeah. And if it were full, like they would have had to have like gotten like all of our like exact weights. Like they would have had to literally weigh us, but they were able to accept like approximations because it was only like 4 or 5 people on the plane, and it was a little disconcerting being able to see. You can literally see the pilots the entire time because there's no door, and then there's just the propeller in front of them. So yeah, you know if you're going to die.
The benefit of small planes. You know if you're going to die.
It's you
don't have to sit back in the cabin and just wonder.
Right. No. It's
Yeah.
see,
Like, is something happening right now in the cockpit? Are the pilots screaming Mayday into a CB radio? I don't know what they're called in planes. I'm just calling it a CB, but.
Well, then you can yell at them just to keep it down. It's like, if we're gonna crash, let's just crash. Like, don't wake me up. Like, don't yell Mayday. Like, I just want to go into it. And I'm just kidding.
Megan, do you have experience on small planes?
On small planes.
Yeah. You ever flown one? Are you a pilot?
Oh, no, I am not a pilot. I don't think you would want me to be a pilot. I don't want to be a pilot. I have been on a small plane. Oh, I'm accident prone, not necessarily with a car, but kind of klutzy. I'm a klutzy person, so I wouldn't want to be responsible for other people's lives.
But if you drive, that's...
True. Good point. Yeah.
Well, you know,
I believe in you.
Listen, the smallest plane is coming because we just saw the other day that the Japanese are rolling out and testing the flying car.
I didn't see that.
I just saw a news story.
Is this a new version?
It's being tested right now. Yeah, it's like a drone.
But it's a car.
So it had, if I'm not mistaken, it had like
Yeah.
Oh,
whatever.
it's the hover.
The hover things.
thing.
The hover
like
things.
Like the Jetsons?
Yeah. Like that kind of thing. And they were doing a pilot tested flying car, test soon. Now, I don't know. That's as much as I've got. So if I say any more about that, it's going to turn into #fake news, and we don't want to do that. So I encourage you to use the Googler and go out there and find what I'm talking about. But it was just out the other day. So that would be a very small plane. That would be well, there you go. They successfully test drove a flying car, SkyDrive Inc., and they did a public demonstration on August 25th. There you go. So just last month. But anyway, the other kind of small plane. Megan, have you flown on small planes?
I have flown on small planes.
Puddle jumpers?
Yes, from like Miami to Key West.
Oh, there
I
you
was
go.
on one of those, and there was actually a like a thunderstorm coming, so it was an eventful ride. It was like a roller coaster ride, but I didn't have to pay extra money because it was just the flight. It was like being in an amusement park. I didn't need to see the pilot. I would have been okay. I would have been
Not
okay
seeing the pilot.
Not seeing the pilot. Just me. But
How small was the plane? Is it like 20 people?
a little bit bigger than Diggs. It was
Yeah.
probably about 20 people. So it felt
Yeah.
pretty small to me.
I'm used to coming from the mountains of Western Pennsylvania. If we wanted to fly anywhere close to where I grew up, you went to Johnstown, and Johnstown was like a feeder to Pittsburgh and Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So it was just like you would get these little puddle jumpers, going over the mountains, and they're a little like the first couple of times. It's a little weird, right? Because you just really feel everything.
You do.
Yeah.
So it is definitely It's definitely an experience if you're used to jets. But the older I've gotten, the worse I've gotten with heights. So when I was younger, it kind of didn't bother me. But now I think kind of the older I get a little bit antsier when it comes to like kind of be. So I'm kind of in the Diggs camp where I kind of don't want to know that much. Just put me in the back of the bus. Just let me put on my noise canceling headphones, dial something up on the old iPad, and you know what I mean. So we'll
Totally
see.
with you.
But hey,
Totally.
soon enough, we're all going to be flying small planes in our cars. But it's time to land this plane, right, and hit the runway, and move on to topic number 3 of this episode's 5x5, which is: do you like having your picture taken? Do you like having your picture taken? Your picture made?
Picture made. on a slide. What's that? What's the old school?
Slide rule.
No. The it'll come to me. I'm trying to think of what the picture.
Camera?
No, the thing that went in the camera.
Like the glass? You talking about those glass ones?
Yeah. There's a specific name. I just can't think of it. I actually don't.
Not a fan?
No, it depends. It's like, I hate when everybody has to get their phone out. It's like, it's just like, people, we can text each other. Like, you do not need the exact same picture from 0.2 degrees over of, like, it's the group photos. It's like when everyone's like, oh my God, wait, I've got my phone. Wait, here, take this. And everyone's just like, no, just.
I'm with you.
One person takes a picture, that person texts everyone, let's move on. Like, so that's usually when I get annoyed.
So it's more like the social situations around these sort of ad hoc photo shoots with large groups.
Yes.
That should have been the topic for today for today's podcast. Do you like getting your picture taken in large group awkward social situations where you ask? That's the topic.
That's
Megan,
not
how
my
about
fav-
you?
That's not my favorite scenario either.
No.
I have to say, I wouldn't say I love it either. I mean, it happens, but
Yeah, pictures get taken. But I kind of agree with both of you. Like those moments where you know how the front row of those kind of pictures, people started doing this weird squat.
yeah.
Did you ever notice that?
It's the
Yes.
sorority squat.
The sorority squat. Yeah, years ago, you would get down on a knee, right? If it was a big family and you had the kids in the front or whatever, and there was a couple like kind of tall, lanky teenagers, you'd be like, get down on the knee, kid. Get down on the knee. Your grandma can't stay over top of you. But it somehow it turned into that squat thing, and the frame it captures sort of too much. If the photographer would crop that down a little bit, so you just kind of saw from here up, kind of mid torso up, and then you had the 2 layers, it would be okay. But what happens is that front line does the squat, and then the frame is the whole picture, and you can see their feet. So everybody's got this sort of like pooping in the woods look, because you're kind of holding that.
It's true.
Right?
It's really true. Yes.
And I know what you're saying, Diggs, because if you're in a situation like that and somebody suggests that the picture get taken, that's where you go. You're like, this is going to turn into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's that mental image, and this is where this is going to go. So there's this sort of visceral, like, avoidance.
It's true. One, have you ever been where like 7 to 10 people bring out their phones and are like, will you take it too?
Then you
That's-
pass it. They
it gets
pass
passed
That's-
around and you have to like wait there.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
right with the
I-
cheeks.
I just walk off. I can't. It's just like that. Also, another thing that I hate is if somebody still has a physical camera and they're late to the group, like then you have to like. I'll wait for them, but I'm like not happy because usually there's like 5 minutes would have passed.
Right.
There would have been an announcement like, "Hey, there's a picture being taken," and like
Yes.
like if just pay attention the first time. But I will give a pass to the physical camera people.
It's the wedding. This is at weddings a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're
Yes.
talking about, it's at weddings. And people just really want to go to the cocktail hour.
Absolutely.
Damn right.
And
Yeah.
and then you get really actually nice candid shots.
Absolutely.
Of people who are
Take a picture of
genuinely
me.
those I
Enjoying
like.
my drink. Yes.
Candid
Right.
shots, showing care, and but
Right, there you go, Diggs. Perfect. I want to go back for just a second to the old images because Photo Olay, Olay.
Olay.
Hong
Yeah,
Kong, yeah. Who has Photo Olay, the business
Yes,
downtown?
yeah.
He for a while at his studio down there. I think it was still Sunshine Art Gallery at the time. Was doing the glass slide photography, and I got one of
Was
those
he?
made. And I have one
oh,
of
cool,
me.
cool.
So what's it called?
I don't know, but this was glass, and there was a difference. And glass was only around for a short period of time, but there was the film slide that you're talking about, where it goes into the whatever, it goes in this way or whatever, and then it gets exposed, and then they pull it out, and then it becomes the negative, and that's almost like a large format. I don't know. I'm starting to speak like I have no idea what I'm saying at this point, but there was a time period. I think I did a little research. Photographic plane. There was a little. There was a time around the Civil War where the glass was the thing, and Olay brought that out and made that happen, and he took the picture. But unfortunately, it's time to develop that negative and move on to topic number 4 of this episode's 5x5, which is favorite sports team. Favorite sports team.
Should we go through each sport, or to then have the argument about what is a sport and what isn't?
Oh, here we go. Megan, let's start with you.
All right, I can say I don't have a favorite sports team from every single sport,
Oh, I don't either.
I don't either.
but I'm a Philly fan.
Okay.
I really am. Born and raised in the Philly area. Phillies.
That's fair.
So Phillies, Eagles.
Yeah, Phillies, Eagles,
What's the hockey team? Sixers.
the Sixers,
Flyers.
is the Flyers. Yeah, Philly sports teams.
Okay.
And I guess I would say, Penn State football kind of gets played a lot in our house. I would say, yeah, I go for them.
Right. Right.
You know,
That's very Lancaster County
very
area.
Lancaster County. I'm not very sportsy, so
Of those teams, like what is the sport that you would get excited about?
I like baseball, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, that means you're a Phillies fan. Never mind. I can't.
Oh.
I am, but I really do. Like, I enjoy baseball. I do.
I know that baseball is Diggs' thing.
It is.
I
One
did
of my
not
friends.
know that. Who's your
Yes.
team, Diggs? Who's your team?
The Mets.
You see? Break it up.
Yeah,
that's why.
but
I
of
was,
course.
I'm from New York.
You're from New
Let's-
York.
And I'm not going to be a Yankees fan. Like they can kick rocks. But like they just need to kick all the rocks, or they can stub their toe on all those fucking trophies they've got from anyway.
I can
moving
join
on.
with you there on that one.
Yes,
about the
I
trophy
think
thing.
I think we can all. If you're an East Coast person and you're not a Yankees fan, we can all hate on the Yankees. I think that's a fair. Although my actual favorite sport to watch and play is tennis, which I know is not
Oh.
the question, but yeah, just to answer that. I played tennis for a number of years growing up and still very much enjoy watching. I was very happy to see the U.S. Open was back in the distanced fashion. But yeah, so
I know
Western
they're
PA.
not. I know they're not teams, but
Well, actually, there is a team version of tennis. I guess but
doubles,
it's-
right?
Doubles.
No. There's
Oh,
yes.
I guess tennis team, right? You would join tennis team like on college or whatever.
Yes, but no. There is actually like a team tennis league. I can't think of the
Oh.
name of it right now, but
Oh.
it's like they're like the major players will like just align themselves with a city's squad, and that actually was like the only live tennis for like about 2 months of or maybe it was a month of quarantine. And actually, a couple of retired players came out of the woodwork for it. Like Kim Kleisters came back for one of those teams, which I know may not mean anything to you guys, but
I have no
she
idea.
she was a big tennis star in the early to mid aughts. Yeah, she came out of retirement and played for I think the DC team.
Wow.
So yeah, there is a team version of.
I never knew that.
I
Tennis.
didn't either.
This
I
is
think it's
why.
called World Team Tennis, if I think.
This is
Got it.
exactly why I do 5x5
Ta-da.
to find those things out, those little nuggets. Never knew that. Steelers right? Western PA and Western
Yeah,
PA
yeah.
guy. Grew up with the Steelers. 1970s, I was a little kid, right? So I don't remember. They won 4 Super Bowls in that decade, and I clearly remember the second 2 when I would have been like 9 and 10, or 8 and 9, like right around there for those. The first one I would have been about 4. I think 4 and 5. So I don't remember, you know what I mean? Like I have no actual memory of those, but those other games, like the later part of that decade, you know, I can see it right now in my head, like the scene with me and the old man, you know what I mean, and my brother, and we're just like watching a game.
So
But it
I
was
just have to ask: Did the polls have to get buttered up, or did Pittsburgh know how to behave itself?
no, I
They're way
think they
better.
may, but I don't remember.
They're
But
way
I don't.
better.
I think they may have had to butter the polls.
Oh, really?
Damn.
I remember that being a thing. Maybe I'm thinking of college. Maybe I'm thinking of some college stuff.
I think you're thinking of the Eagles. That's what I think.
I
I'm
was gonna
probably
say-
thinking.
It's Philadelphia that notoriously can't handle winning or losing without like ripping things out.
I just feel no. You know what? You're right. Pittsburgh probably didn't do that. They certainly didn't throw batteries at Santa or whatever. But it was a great run, and that's really the only sport over the years that I have really followed. I did watch the Phillies for a little bit when I first moved to this area. Watched the Sixers a little bit when I first moved to this area. I had toddlers. There wasn't much to
Yeah.
do. I didn't have a lot of money, so I was definitely tuned into that kind of stuff. But watching pro football growing up, you know, in the Pittsburgh area, you know, it just sort of gets ingrained. It's crazy how big a part of these sports, like just sports in general, is part of our culture, especially as you grow up and as you have this. Well, you know, I spent 6 years in Tennessee, in Nashville in the '90s, and it was like you'd go find the bar and go watch the Steeler game. You know what I mean? Like that had the ticket on, but
Oh, not the Titans. It was.
they came just as I was leaving, so they overlapped.
Oh.
But unfortunately, the clock has run out on this topic,
Oh.
and it's time to move on to the 5th and final topic of this episode's 5x5, which is, bring it to me,
Buzzer
Frank.
beaters. No, I'm joking.
Favorite traveling moment or
Ooh.
memory. Favorite traveling memory.
You know, I've got one that actually connects to spirituality, because it is actually one of my favorite memories. So my first international trip was to Saudi Arabia, which it's very random, but I went to the full context. I went to boarding school for high school through an education access program, and my senior year there was a Saudi family, the Nasser family. I doubt they'll ever listen to this, but Loai, how are you? Who sponsored this exchange trip. So we went over for a week. We were in Jeddah on the western coast of Saudi, and the moment that like always sticks out to me and it was really spiritual, is that there's this area in Old Jeddah where you can hear the call to prayer. And first of all, the people that do the call to prayer in Saudi don't play. Like, they are amazeballs. Like, I grew up listening to it in New York, and there's some crappy versions of it in places in Brooklyn, but Jeddah, everyone was on point. And at the 5 o'clock prayer, we heard, I remember either the number was 22 or 23 different mosques, all at this. There was one late one, but most of them were all at the same time. And I'm not Muslim. I'm a very, very lapped Christian. I kind of just say that I'm spiritual if I have to answer that question. But the hairs were just standing up. It was just the most beautiful soundscape. I can't, you have to kind of experience it. Like, there's no way I can ever duplicate that for someone, but it was just oof. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful.
That is
Yeah.
powerful.
That would be truly amazing to experience for sure. Megan, how about you?
So I've been to India a couple of times. That's also pretty amazing digs that they have in the morning. The Hindu call, the Christian call, and the Muslim call. So it's like a cacophony. So
Whoa.
it is cool. But my first trip, do you all remember there was a tsunami that hit southern India and Sri Lanka in 2004?
Yeah.
So this was 2008. And we got to be part of people moving back into the village that had been reestablished. And they were getting to literally have the deeds for their homes for the first time. And the sun was setting over the ocean, and it was beautiful. And there was this huge ceremony. And we just literally watched one by one, or family by family, as they got their deeds. And it was just very powerful. And, all the little coins that kids collect to go to this stuff, that's what helped fund this. And I think for me, it was that one great hour of sharing and those little fishies that we put it really goes somewhere. It really helps people. And seeing that like live and like families weeping because they'd never owned their own home and now they would. And they were going to have indoor plumbing, which is a luxury that I definitely take for granted.
Oh, absolutely.
Was like, wow. And it was like a confluence of the beauty and being there and going like, oh, this is what I am a Christian. This is what it means to be a Christian. Like helping our neighbors as ourselves.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how this topic goes there, right?
Yeah.
And this really sort of, it's not like, I was partying, in Mexico.
I have a partying story. No, I'm kidding.
Well, because I was, as you guys were both talking, I was thinking about it, and it wasn't influenced by, it wasn't like, oh, what was my spiritual experience? But I do remember I spent the summer of '99 in Ireland, about 3 months, and I was playing in a rock band. And the way that it worked was, I knew a guy from New York who was going to Ireland to play, and the sort of stars aligned, and I was in between Tennessee and Pennsylvania, and so I went and played in this band, and it was a chaotic. The whole experience was very chaotic, very reality TV show kind of like how people living in the house, just like renting places and money and blah 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 blah. Anyway, so we would play about four nights a week, sometimes 5 nights a week. And we would have a couple days off early in the week, and I would usually get home after 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and sleep late, and then get up, go to a pub, and drink until it was time to go again. But I would walk to the pub about 2 miles from where we were staying, and one day I veered off the road that just went into the town, into the woods, and there were trails and stuff. It wasn't like I was roughing it, but I followed these trails back by these creeks, and I just remember I didn't want to go to the pub and just sit there and drink again. So I just laid down right in this moss in the woods outside of Killarney in Ireland, and just spent the afternoon by myself, just kind of hanging out, listening to the creek. And I remember thinking, like, it was weird because for all of the time, the chaos and the time of kind of getting over there and working and playing and learning all this music and kind of being in this crazy buzz the whole time. Like, I remember in that moment just sort of sitting there and thinking, oh, holy shit, like I'm laying in this, you know what I mean? Like I'm laying in these woods in Ireland. 6 months ago, if someone would have told me that I would be doing that, I would have been like, I don't even know who you are. Get out of my house. So it was really the closest thing to sort of a truly authentic spiritual experience that I've had, and I've always felt that way. For the last 21 years, I've always felt like that moment. I remember that moment. And I remember sort of being completely kind of at peace and just sort of like reflecting on the path, this crazy weird path that my life had gone to get to that very spot.
And now you're here.
And now I'm here. And right now we have to get on that plane and head home. Because it's the end of yet another.
The end.
That is the fastest 25 minutes of podcast.
I love
Megan.
our travel stories.
Yeah,
I
wasn't
love
that
them.
Yeah. Great way to land the plane.
It is.
Megan, it's been a true pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Diggs, it will be my pleasure to see you again next time on 5x5. And to everybody else, I hope you have a great day. And we'll see you next time on 5x5. The Candy Factory 5x5 podcast
Is a proud member of the Candy Factory Collective. 5x5 video can be found on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
Subscribe to the audio version wherever you get your podcasts.
The Candy Factory 5x5 podcast is recorded at the studios of the Candy Factory,
a co-working campus in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
The show is produced and hosted by Jason Mundock,
along with co-host Robert Diggs.
Editing and additional production by Anna Tran.
The opinions and views expressed on this podcast
Are solely those of the expressor.
The Candy Factory is not in any way responsible if anyone said something stupid.
Our theme music was composed
and recorded by a really cool guy.
Really cool guy.
A really cool guy.
really cool guy named John Chin.
Relevant links and show notes
Can be found on the show post.
At our website, candyfactorycollective.com.
Maybe that's it.
Is that it? Okay.
Candy Factory.
collective.